line y is equal to negative 2x plus 2, so that's that region over here. And then shaded below this line here, so where they overlap, I'm going to put a big circle, I want you to, is this region down here. And so the solution to the system would be where those shadings overlap. Okay. As I showed you this one, if they're parallel lines in this case, this inequality was shaded above the line, this inequality was shaded below the line, so this would have nothing in common, so no solution for this one. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to graph each inequality. So we're going to practice that, and then we're going to shade the region. Then at the end I'm going to show you an alternate way if you don't want to, if you just want to shade at the end. Okay, so the first inequality is this top one. Somebody tell me, where should I start my line? 3. Very nice. So we're going to put a 3 on the y-axis. I'm going to just squeeze a little 1 in there. This is a slope of negative 1, so let's go down 1 over 1. And what kind of line should I make? Good, dotted. So we're going to make a dotted line. Okay. Then I'm going to do my shading. Now, I see the less than sign, so to me I think, okay, I think it's going to be shaded below the line down here, but I'm going to test my point. I plug 0, 0 in, and I get 0 is less than 3. That's true, isn't it? Okay, when we shade, just because we're going to need an overlapping region, just do it lightly, please, okay? So real lightly I'm going to shade the region below the line. Okay, so the added step now is, now I graph the second line. So I'm going to, do you see how this line is not in slope-intercept form? All right, so let's review that. This isn't testing a point. I plug in and find the x and y intercept. So if I put 0 in for x, I would get 4y equals 4. What's y? 1. If I put 0 in for y, I get negative 2x equals 4. What's the x-intercept? Negative 2. All right, so then we're going to plot those 2 points. So here's 0, 1, and negative 2, 0. Okay, question on this one, solid or dashed?
For y, I got negative 2.
What's that?
I got negative 2 for y.
On the y-axis. So if I put 0 in for x, do you see how that goes away up here?
No, I'm saying I tried to solve for the x first. Get my x-intercept. Or, I mean,
Do you want me to come look? Let me finish this and I can come look then, okay? So this is or equal to, so I'm going to make it solid. Okay, to me this is where it gets tricky when they're not in slope-intercept form. To me that looks like it's going to probably be shaded above the line because the greater than or equal to, but I'm still going to test a point. This is why I like 2 colors, because there's 2 things kind of going on here. So looking at the pink, 0, 0 is below that. So I test it. 0 plus 0 is greater than or equal to 4. Is that true? No, okay. So I'm shading above this line, okay. Where your shading overlaps, think of this as forming an X. Where that shading overlaps is the solution. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to circle this region right here. Do you see that's where my blue and pink shading overlap? That would be where your solution is. Okay. Can somebody give me a solution to the system then? An example. -5, 1. So good. Santos was picking something that was in that overlapping region, right? So any of these ordered pairs right here would be that. All right, let's try one more. And on this one, I'll show you how you can shade just at the end of the one. Okay, so what do we do when it's just an X and a Y with nothing in front? Those are actually pretty easy to graph. You're still going to do your intercepts. If you put 0 in for X, you literally, that goes away. You just get Y equals 5. You don't even have to divide both sides by anything. It's just 0, 5. I put 0 in for Y. Same thing. The Y drops out. You just get X equals 5. Let's plot the point 0, 5, 5, 0. Okay. Solid or dashed? Solid. I believe I'm going to shade below the line because I see this less than or equal to 5, but I'm going to test the point 0, 0, and I check. Does 0 plus 0, is 0 plus 0 less than or equal to 5? Okay, so you can shade if you want, but I'm going to show you something that a teacher taught me once, and I kind of liked it. I'm going to use little arrows down here to show me that it's going to be below this line. It just makes it a little neater at the end, or if you only have one color. Okay. If you would like to just shade the whole thing, that's fine, and just look for the overlapping region. All right, let's do second line. Start your line at 3. Now what? Good. Slope of 1. Up 1 over 1. This is going to be a dashed line. Okay. I look and I say, well, it's less than, so I believe that the shading is going to be below that blue line down here, but I just make sure. I get 0 is less than 0 plus 3. That is true. So that means I'm shading down here. So do you see where the arrows are pointing to one another? That's where your shaded region would be. And so if you want, you can save your shading to the end. You would be shading where those arrows point to each other. Okay. Does that make sense to you? Cool. So I kind of gave you 2 methods to use. We are going to do 25 through 26 odds. We're not, just take a look a minute because it's not very many problems. It's just there's a lot of pictures of graphing there. Let's do one of the ones that is an X and Y though together. So you're going to just do 1 and 3 on this page, and 5 and 7 on this page. Right? All right, let's do number 1 together. So does anyone remember from first semester when we had lines that were x equals a number? What kind of line was that? Do you remember when it was just y equals something? Kind of? Good memory, yes. Y equals our flat lines like this, they're horizontal. X equals our vertical, okay? So when we have an inequality, this is like I'm going to graph the line, a vertical line at 7, and I'm just going to make it dashed. So let's go ahead and do that. So how do we test a point if there's no y? Well, you don't have to put in the y because you can't, or you can just kind of use common sense. Where do you think the values that are less than 7 would be? Shaded on the left or on the right? Numbers less than 7, aren't those over here? Yeah, so I'm going to shade just to the left of that line, so I'll go like this. All right, let's do y is greater than 2. So I'm going to do a horizontal line at 2. And it's dashed. Okay, how about this one? Let me get a little closer together. Where do you think I shade? Yeah, because y is bigger than 2, so the y values that are greater than 2 are up here. Okay, so I would be shading, but the region where the solution would be everything that's below that pink line and to the left of that. I'm just circling it. You don't have to circle it. I'm just trying to point to where the solution would be. Okay,